Hello and welcome back to the Bird's Eye View podcast. We are here on Monday, September 9th. I'm your host, Zach Worden, joined as always by Jori Negin-Shecter, and we are super excited to be joined by our special guest today, Irv Carter, a reliever with the Vancouver Canadians, the Toronto Blue Jays' fifth-round pick in the 2021 MLB Draft. Irv, thanks so much for taking the time to do this, man.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
All right, so before we kind of get into things, I think we got to talk about the Canadians and the big week ahead for you guys. How are clinching a spot in the Northwest League Championship? How are you guys feeling kind of heading into this series against Spokane?
We feel great, man. The vibes are up. All the boys are excited. It's been a long journey. It's been a very, very long year. The work started in the off season, and and then went to spring training, and then after spring training, just playing a lot of games to get to this point. So I know this group has worked incredibly hard. I've played with most of these guys since I've been drafted. So it's a very full circle moment, and we have a couple more games to clinch and get that ring, man. So everyone's feeling excited. This off day will definitely help the mind and help the body, because it's definitely gonna be a dogfight, man. So we just can't wait.
Yeah, it's super exciting. When I was in Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, I spent a little bit of time around the team. It seemed like you guys are a pretty tight-knit group, despite, kind of having some guys who've been there all year, some guys like yourself who have kind of come up and kind of been all over the place. How has the group been able to kind of mesh so well here down the stretch and put together such a strong second half?
Yeah, man, I think it comes from two things. I think it comes from knowing we're all here for a reason. I think it all comes from knowing that we're all, good baseball players and good athletes. And, it also just comes with trust, just like trusting the guy behind you, like it lets you strike out, the guy behind you is gonna, do his job or something else like that. I mean, we have a lot of talent on this team. I mean, it even comes back to the pitching. Like if someone's gonna have their best day, we have another guy that could do, the same job or better. So it just comes back to trusting your guys and knowing that, that we're here for a reason, um and that like we have a very, very, very good team, so 1 through 9, I mean, we have no holes, and same as the pitching staff, man. So just to be on a team, with a lot of great talent and even, just great coaching staff as well, man, it's just a blessing. And I think it's just a great combo for just a great mixture.
Really exciting for sure. And again, appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Of
I'd
course.
like to ask you a little bit more kind of about just the vibes in Vancouver and the opportunity to really play for the city, represent Vancouver like that. We've heard from others that it's really kind of a privilege and that it's such a tight knit group, as Zach kind of mentioned. And now, obviously, you guys have this playoff run coming up. Just
Yeah.
can we get a sense of the vibes kind of for you guys?
I'm telling you, man, the vibes are up, man. The vibes are up. I mean, even after when there was a position in the season probably about 2 weeks ago when we were in Hillsborough, and it was like, all right, guys, like we just literally just need to win 2 games, So I think we lost 5 out of 6 games, and the games we lost, I mean, I would say half the game were just heartbreakers because I mean, it was even one game where we were up, I think like 8-3 in the ninth inning and blew it. So even after, those tough losses, I mean, guys came in the very, very next off day at home and got the job done, So I mean, and guys weren't even thinking about the previous week. So I think we have such a great and tight knit group that, we could lose one game, but then the next day we could bounce back. And even like if we're down a lot like in the game, everyone knows that this team has been a team that has always come back at the end and always, just never gives up fighting. So when you have a team that's kind of built around, being hungry and, really like not fighting until that last pitch is thrown, it just makes up for a very, very great team and a very good ball club at the end of the year.
What does the preparation look like for you guys right now? Obviously, like you kind of have seen Spokane enough at that by
Yeah.
this point. So what does that kind of look like for you guys as a group, kind of preparing for a series and trying to get
Yeah.
ready for obviously the biggest week of the year?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously we're in playoffs and we have, a championship series, but again, like we have to stick to our routines. We got to stick to the same things that got us here. Even though we are playing in playoffs, it's just another baseball game. It's another baseball game. There's 9 innings, they have players, we have players, and the best team win, So I think a lot of people can kind of take playoffs and put it out of like a junction and be like, all right, like we have to do this better or do this, but no, it's baseball. It's baseball. We play 9 innings. We stick to our routines. It's the same things that we've been doing all year. We're going to continue doing that, and really nothing else changes.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
for you individually, you know, kind of having your move to the bullpen this year and kind of finding a lot of success and earning the promotion to Vancouver. What is you like? What's your prep kind of look like? Is there something like is there a certain day that you're geared up for? Or are you kind of just ready to come in whenever you're needed?
Exactly what you said, man. I'm ready to come in whenever that phone is rung, man. I really, really enjoyed my transition, from a starter getting to a bullpen guy this year. It was I, I would say it was a pretty challenging transition for me, just being a starter and, having that starter routine and kind of just tinkering that all year. And I really give a lot of credit to my coaches in Dunedin, that were just very patient with me and very patient with my routine and kind of just transitioning me to the role I am right now. So I think a that routine change was very, very big in my development. And, for me just to learn like the little ins and outs of a reliever and, like how many pitches you want to throw before, like maybe not throwing too much before the game, maybe knowing that, all right, like I want to get, 8 to 10 off the mound before I pitch today. So I really, the fact I love relieving is just, it's just that, I don't know, man. Like it's the calm before the storm effect. It's like you're kind of just waiting to pitch, and like you might have a feeling you're up that day, and then when they get that call, like, hey, like let's get Irv moving. It's like let's go, man. Like let's get it going. So just that feeling and then coming out in front of 6,000 and doing what you do is really the best feeling in the world. It's very, very rewarding, man. So it's just been a great year on that part.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. And Irv, I want to take a kind of a step back here a little bit. You mentioned Dunedin.
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about what it was like for you with things kind of bearing fruit this year and the opportunity that you did ultimately get to be promoted, what
Yeah.
that was like kind of transitioning, and then ultimately what it was like finding the success and being able to move along kind of in your career, so to speak.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think it really all started in my off season, brother. I'm from Florida, but I was born in New Jersey. So, I mean, I have all my friends and family back in South Florida. So I thought I've always, trained very, very hard and I've always, enjoyed training and just enjoyed the work of it. But when I got to the real nitty grit of it, it was like, you know what, like I'm working hard, but I feel like I could work harder, and I was home and I was training and like I think it's very, very easy to get comfortable when things are going good in life and things are going good in baseball. And I think even a lot of kids now, like they might find success in themselves and then get comfortable and then not really stay on their path and stay on what they're doing. So I kind of felt like I was kind of going down that road a little bit in my second off season. And I came back into spring training. It was my second spring training, and the day probably like a week before that, like I had a lat injury, so that kept me out like 5 months. I had like a grade 2 lat strain, and then I had a forearm strain at the end of my year. And last year for me just wasn't a good year all around. I mean, I wasn't healthy the way I wanted to be. My velocity was down. I wasn't getting out the way I wanted to. I was getting hit more than ever. So I mean, last year I would say like the total season for me was just a very, very hard year, and just dealing with a lot of failure I just wasn't used to. So I talked to my team at the end of the year, and I was like, look, like I want to kind of go away and do things differently because I don't like the space I was in, and I kind of just want to just be all about the work and nothing else. So, I'm very, very glad that my two trainers, Nathan and Chris Little, they're out in St. Louis, Missouri, and I just bunkered down. I got a house out there for 4 months, and
Nice.
it was 6 days a week, 3 times a day. And I really just, I really just worked my ass off for 4 months, and I saw the results as soon as I got back to spring training, man. And the Blue Jays got on me quick as soon as I got back, and they wanted me to really hone in on this cutter. And at first, I was like, man, like I'm good. Like I kind of have my pitches I've always had, yada yada yada. And it was funny. It was my first spring training game versus the Phillies, and I just had my four seam fastball, my slider, and my occasional changeup. And I was trying to pound these guys with fastball, and first batter hit a homer off me, and I kind of got a little like a little PTSD of last year. Like I was like, man, no way this is happening again. No way, like no way. And I was like, you know what, Irv, like let's buy in. Like let's buy in. Like these guys know what they're talking about. If they're saying, out of the cutter, like let's buy in. And I promise you, I literally just made up a grip in my glove of a cutter grip. And that next batter and those three after that, I K'd the side. And I
Wow.
was like, you know what? Like cutter thing really not like might not be a bad thing. And I got the season. And at first, it really wasn't a cutter. Like I was throwing it very hard. Like I was throwing it like 92, 94. But it was like an accidental cutter, but it was really like a two seamer. So I knew I really wanted to work and get the spin of the pitch right. So I was working with my with Corey Reedon on just the spin and really just feeling right on the seams and everything. And I finally got a grip that that feels bread and butter to me. And I mean that's kind of like my pitch I've been going off this year. I've had a lot of success with going that pitch, and everything I throw could just kind of goes off that. So I think just changing my routine and kind of changing the way I pitch. I mean, I kind of banged my four seamer as well. I mean, out of high school, I was 93, 96, and I was, getting a lot of vert. Like I was averaging 20, 22, like in just a vert. And after my injury, I realized like I kind of didn't have that same vert. So again, I kind of had to buy into being like, all right, I'm not a high efficiency spin guy now. I'm kind of like a 3/4 guy. So let's lock in on my sinker. So I think kind of just putting my ego to the side and being like, look, like I know I have a lot of good talent and I know that I'm a good pitcher, but let's just kind of buy into what the Jays are saying and just create a plan that works for both of us, man. So I think it's just been a great year of adapting and just being like all ears.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up because, the stuff that's like publicly available, the stuff that we can see. I mean,
Yeah.
like looking at what you did in single A this year with the cutter, with the slider was like super impressive. I mean, just I like have the numbers up here, and like you had guys hitting below 200 off both those pitches and everything. So
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, like, I mean, what is kind of the approach, the mentality when you're pitching, and like what is your plan of attack with your arsenal and the way that you go about using it?
Yeah, man. I think my plan of attack really first off was just coming off as just being an assassin, man. I don't want to be a nice guy on the mound. I don't, like I want my teammates to love me, but I don't want the other team to love me. Like I'm going to be that guy on the mound, and I literally I feel I just pitch better that way. So um yeah, I mean I love just attacking guys, and I have a motto on the mound. Like when things are, like let's say I have a 2 count or things aren't going my way, I have something in my hat called BFA, and it's just called breed focused attack. So I think as pitchers, it's very, very crucial and key to have little keys to get you back on the mound, because pitching is a very hard thing, and you're your own pitching coach on the mound. It's a very lonely place when things aren't going your way. So you have to kind of have little things that get you back on to being yourself. So that's kind of like what I didn't really do a good job last year. Like if things were going bad, let's say I had a 2-0 count or 3-1, I would think, all right, don't walk him. But then those two words is what don't
Yeah.
and walk, so your mind already goes to that. So I think just changing my mindset and knowing like, all right, if I have a 2-0 count, I have enough really good stuff to get back in the count here and get out. So I think just changing that mentality of don't do this and I don't want this to happen, and just having your mind think of things you don't want to happen instead of, all right, like if I have a 2 count, I'm gonna throw 3 strikes in a row and get them out right here. So just changing, just the mindset of just being more positive. And I'm telling you, man, when I changed that, everything kind of changed for me for sure.
That's really cool. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, just kind of the mentality and everything, like as especially, like really cool to kind of like even be able to like see like from the games that we watch, like seeing you pitch a little bit, you can almost like kind of see the confidence, everything like that. So
I
that's
appreciate
really
that, brother.
awesome.
Thank you.
One thing too, so while I was there, I noticed like you go up to Grant Rogers and you ask him like, hey, how do you throw your slider? And you guys talk a little bit about pitch mix stuff. And I mean, you're mentioning that you're kind of like coming up with grips when you're on the mound. Are you like kind of tinkering like that all the time and trying to figure out like grips? Like how much are you working on these different approaches and grips and kind of tinkering with your stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be the best pitcher I can, man. I don't think I'll ever stop evolving, and I don't think I'll ever stop learning. I think when you try to stop learning, you're just gonna just kind of put yourself in a box and kind of just go with the flow. And for me, man, I never want to stop learning. I mean, like even Grant Rogers is nasty, man. He is a nasty pitcher. He's a great arm. He has a lot of good talent, and just to see him do what he does every Saturday is very intriguing, man. I mean, his sinkers. I mean, like I'm throwing my sinker right now, and like it's okay. His sinker is like -1 in 22. It's a bowling ball. So it's like, man, you know what I'm saying? But it's like everyone has different strengths that they kind of bring like to like the table and stuff like that. But I think when it comes to grips, I mean, I just want, my pitches just to move as best as they can in my hand. You know what I'm saying? So for example, like when I got here, like I've always had a pretty good changeup, but for me, my changeup has been really good, but then it's been inconsistent. And when you're coming out the pen and you're facing that lefty, you want to get that changeup in first strike, and you don't want to even think about it twice. So
Right.
I think getting here and getting around like ABD, the pitching coach here, and Carson, and then kind of changing my grip to a four-seam changeup grip. I mean, the numbers on it have been great, and I mean, like I feel great with that pitch. And then when it came to my slider, I mean, it's always been, like we always, like want the bread and butter with the cutter to be like very, very hard into the side. But when it comes to my side, we want that big like slurviness difference of it not blending in like with with my cutter. So just getting to work with ABD and them and kind of tinkering with my slider grips and just feeling stuff that works. And that's why I really enjoy the analytical side to the game, because it could even be like, let's say it's just a regular Tuesday and maybe I pitch that day, like maybe I don't, but I'm gonna get my work in. I'll go 10 or 12 pitches off the mound and we'll have a track man like in the back. And I'll be throwing my pitches in just pure execution. And it'll be like, all right, like let's execute a slider down the way. And I see the numbers, and then they're like, all right, let's change this on your hand. Let's change maybe this mentality on, all right, you're thinking 12:30. We'll like, let's think 1:30. So the pitch to pitch um lessons are very, very, very valuable to me, man. So I don't think I'll ever just stick with one mentality and just one thing of pitching. I think pitching is a thing where you have to constantly evolve, and you really can't be comfortable like in the box. So I think like when you have your tools and your bread and butter, like I feel like you should just kind of stick with that. But if you want things to get better, man, I mean, I think you should ask as many questions as you can just to get what really you want out of it.
100%. Irv, I think you're
Yeah.
really speaking our language here with all the numbers and everything. And I think it's really incredible. It speaks to your depth of work ethic and your kind of it. I mean, listen, obviously we're speaking here for the first time, but I can clearly see you have this kind of thirst for knowledge about the game. And I think that's really incredible. And I know Zach mentioned it to you even before we hit the record button, but I had the chance a number of years back to speak with a high school coach of yours, and he kind of echoed these same sentiments about just kind of this dog mentality, so to speak, this attitude of always wanting to get better and so forth. So I'd be curious for you. I mean, you joined the Blue Jays organization a number of years back, and I mean, you were a kid, really. I mean, drafted out of high school.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, just in terms of how you've maybe matured or anything of that nature, I'd be curious what that experience has been like, and how do you feel that you've kind of matured as you've adjusted to pro ball over the past number of years, given how young you were when you joined the
Yeah.
Blue Jays organization?
Yeah, man. I think I really, really just I'm very thankful that I failed at a very young age, man. I think a lot of kids don't go through failure at a young age, and they don't really know like how to deal with it. And that was kind of my case. I started playing baseball at 7 years old, and from 7 to age 20, it's been nothing but success and um really like no failure in my life. I mean, like I was committed to University of Miami in the 8th grade. I mean, that was my dream college, and I mean, just making every All American team, perfect game All American team. I mean, you name it, like I was kind of on that team. And when I got drafted in my first year in pro ball, it was very eye opening. It was very eye opening because I mean, just to see, the pitches that you threw and the takes that they're taking now and the hacks they're taking in, and like you can't just throw 95 by guys anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I think learning how to fail was huge for me because I just didn't know how to deal with that. And then with failing, you're like, all right, like, am I the same guy? Um, should I change something in my mechanics? Should I should I um should I change something in my arsenal? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think you're just always trying just to see like, all right, like do I have to change something to go back to what I am and what I know? And I think, just learning how to deal with failure and then coming out of it is just a huge thing. So I mean, I think everyone is supposed to deal with failure if it's in the big leagues at 28 or if it's, your first year in rookie ball at 19 years old. So I think, just learning that like really just the entire year of not pitching the way I wanted to. And then just kind of going to a cave and just locking in, knowing like, look, like these are my strengths. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And just locking on just a plan and the path.
One thing, Irv, that we ask a lot of the guys who come on, is if like growing up, were you a big MLB fan?
Oh, for sure, for sure,
Yeah,
man. I mean, my favorite TV show was MLB Network. It was quick
nice.
pitch every morning. I mean, I was dialed in for sure, one
So,
thousand
so,
percent.
so with that, I mean, has there kind of been any player that you've met or any moment that stands out from the course of your professional career that was like a really, really cool moment for you?
Bro, it has to be meeting Joey Votto and spending
Yeah.
2 weeks with him, man. That was unreal. I mean, I've been around a lot of great players. I've been around, like obviously Vladdy in spring training, and like my boy Alec Manoa. Me and him are good friends, and I mean, really a lot of the players on the Blue Jays are very, very, very cool. But um, to be around a first ballot Hall of Famer for 2, 3 weeks, and literally he was my locker mate for
Wow.
2 weeks. I mean, right next to me every single day. So I mean, it was just unreal. I mean, so to kind of pick his brain and know what made him him, and I mean, it looked like the guy did Pilates for a living. I mean, it was wild the way that his body was moving. I mean, especially at his age and just his mindset of how he kind of attacked the game and just the simplicity of it was extremely refreshing to see from a guy with that much success in the game of baseball. So I think uh I think being around Votto for as long as I did was very eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I know we
Yeah,
chatted about it a little bit in Vancouver while I was there,
yeah.
but was there kind of like one specific lesson from him that really stood out to you?
Um, it's hard to say one specific lesson, man,
Yeah.
but I do remember when we were in Lakeland, and Lakeland always has the worst weather. So we were waiting before a game, and it was just pouring around like 5 o'clock, and you could just see Joey in there, just him and the hitting coach. And I promise you, this man took like 15 swings, finished. I'm just like, we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then I'm asking, and like I'm like, hey Joey, like like I don't want to step on any toes, but I mean, like, can you explain like what that was? Because I mean, it was 15 swings and you're out of here. And he was like, look, man, like I know my body, I know what I could do. And I know my approach to the game. And when I'm in the cage, it's game time hacks. I'm going 100%. And when I feel good, I'm done. And that's it. And I thought that was such a mature answer from a guy who's, had so much success in the league is because he knows what he could do. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows his routine, he knows his body, and he knows exactly what he needs to get ready to play a baseball game. So I think everyone's routine is different. But for me to see his routine and how he really took care of his body and how early he would get in the training room. I mean, like we would get to the ballpark, let's say, I don't know, maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock, and Joe is already there, with his legs up, Normatec on, getting treatment. It's like, man, like this guy's for like he's just not playing baseball for fun. Like he's actually
Yeah.
for real at this thing, and he's making like a real run of it. I mean, like, because he's a legend. So just to see those things from a first ballot guy and really just to see that respect he had, man. I mean, it's funny, man. Like I've always watched Joey from afar, and just like me, like I'm an emotional player, So I mean, I think the one time I saw Joey play was versus the Marlins, and I was maybe, I don't know, 13, 14 years old, and it was a game where he got ejected, and he
Oh,
was like, and he was giving the ump
yeah.
like he was giving the ump some stuff, you know what I'm saying? So coming into spring training, I see him, and like I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna react or like if he's nice or something. I'm talking when I approached Joey Votto, the most, I mean, the most polite human being I've ever met in my life. I mean, I was so taken back. I mean, like I mean, it was almost like, hey, like, how are you? How's everything? It's so good to meet you. It's a pleasure. And like, I'm just like, bro, it's a pleasure for me, bro. Like, you don't even know who I am. But for him to even talk to me like that without even knowing me is like, man, like this guy has so much class and respect. And I know why he's such a legend in this game.
100%. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I have another question for you kind of about
yeah.
that, but before I do want to ask, did you get the chance to tell Joey that was the time you'd seen him in Florida
No,
that
I
he
wish. I wish. That would have been funny. That would have been funny. That would have been funny. Yeah,
Oh,
no.
that's hysterical.
Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of speaking with Votto about kind of routines and so forth. And I mean, based on everything we've kind of read and such, it seems like that's something that for you has always been really kind of important to your game and just something that earlier we talked about how your routine shifted when you moved from starting to a bullpen role. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you, just even coming into pro ball and then beyond that, how your routine kind of is these days and what that kind of process is like for you.
Yeah, I think that, when you're a young kid growing up, especially coming out of high school, routines isn't really like a forte. It's not like a main thing. You just kind of do what you do and just go about your business. But I think, you know, um, again, I'm very, very glad I failed because when I was failing, I kind of just took a deep breath of everything. I was like, look, all right, what are we not doing and what can we do better? And a big thing of that was routine. Like I would come in and I would do certain things, certain days, and then let's say I would take off throwing for this day because I just felt like it. Or I would, like let's say I was pitching in 2 days and I didn't want to go this much weight because I felt that my body would feel sore. So I feel like when you're trying to protect yourself, especially in season, you're not getting better. Like you have to get stronger and you have to get better in season. And that's what I kind of didn't do a good job of last year, man. So I think just, when it came to routines, I mean, like as a starter routine, let's just go back. Like let's say you have a 7 p.m. start and let's say you get to the park around, I don't know, 4 o'clock. So then and my routine was very, very long. I mean, very, very, very long. I would have my routine on my notes, and it would be about 20 to 40 different stretches. I would have heat packs, hot tub, like you name it, like I was doing it to get ready for my start. And when I came in this year, and they told me I was gonna relieve, they kind of told me like I have a spring training. So it was kind of hard to form like a strong routine because they told me I probably had maybe like a week to my season, and I was like, okay, look, we'll try to get a new routine going because I've had the same routine for a couple of years now. And the Jays were very, very nice to me, and they're like, look, like you can keep your starter routine, and kind of like these are the days that you're gonna pitch, and just get ready for your outings, but you can keep your starter routine. So when I was doing my starter routine, like let's say the game, like let's say I was slated to pitch that Thursday night, right? And I knew I was gonna pitch that night. I would probably go in. I'd probably go in the locker room and like the clubhouse around like the first inning, and I would work for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth inning, all that time to get ready for my outing in like the seventh or eighth inning, But I didn't even realize that I was working so hard, and I would get in the game and I would be exhausted, and I didn't even realize that myself. And there was one time I was pitching in Jupiter, and my coaches were like, "Look, man, like we're not doing this because we're trying to pick on you or anything, but like we're trying to make you better and we're trying to make you, a guy in the big leagues. So your starter routine, we're gonna have to tinker that, and we have to go on a full relievers routine. And at first, like I was like, all right, man, like I'm open to it. Let's do it. Because I've been already making so many changes that year. I was like, look, man, if you guys think this is the best for my development, let's do it, man. So I was all hands on board. So it went from working all in the game to get ready for my start versus all right now we show up to the park a little earlier now we're chilling, but it's like all right, like now we shag. Now we do our routine for maybe 20, 30 minutes now. So now it's like throwing right before the game. So now we have throwing let's say we have throwing for a 7 p.m. game, 4:30, 5 o'clock. So now we got our throwing in. We go whatever we go for that day. Now I do a little touch and field work on the mound, 10, 12 pitches, and then get in the clubhouse, maybe recover on the mark for a little bit, and then just get ready for my game and pitch. And I felt so much better on the mound and so much better just in between my outings and really just from a body standpoint because I didn't realize how much I was working on the mound and I didn't think that I would, have such an easy transition into routines as I did, man. So again, I give a big testament to the guys in Dunedin for kind of sticking with me and just learning my routine and just kind of like the patience of it, man. So I give a lot of thanks to them.
That's awesome. It's really
Yeah.
cool to hear just like the development that you've gone through and kind of like the way that you've been able to adjust and really like listen to so many things coming at you and be able to
Yeah.
kind of develop throughout the years. It's really cool to kind of see that process.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but we've done a lot of on-field stuff, so I want to ask you a little bit like Irv off the field a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, for you, getting into Vancouver this year, I know like you've been to Toronto and stuff like that, but kind of
Yeah.
like your first like full-time stint in Canada. What has been like the most shocking thing about Canada to you from your time in Vancouver?
So I know that people say that probably like 9 out of the 12 months are like not really like nice to be here. So I'm blessed to be here during this time
Yeah.
because it is beautiful. There's just days where I just wake up and like I just go on walks, like it's
Yeah.
so peaceful out here. The people are amazing. Like I'm walking in the streets and people are waiting for you to walk this like cross the street. I'm like, wow, like this would never happen back in Florida. Like people be honking at you and everything, So I think just the peacefulness of being here is awesome. And the weather, it honestly feels unreal because like I'm from Florida, so the humidity there is no joke. And here it's
Yeah.
Oh
just
yeah.
everything's just perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's perfect, and it's really a blessing and honor like to be here. Um, and I think the word choice is I just like the word choice. Like for example, like when people say like in the States, people are like, all right, like I'm gonna go to the restroom or bathroom. They say wash from here. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So like I think that's dope, like it's very formal. And then a lot of people like instead of like saying bye, they say cheers. I really enjoy that as well. You know what I'm saying? So just the
Yeah.
little things about Canada and just, the simplicity of it is just very, very dope to me.
Yeah, that's super funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always fun for us to kind of hear what the guys learn
Yeah.
and what it's like kind of coming up to Canada. I mean, another thing for you, like, I mean, what is kind of like off days look like for you? What are you kind of doing when you're away from the field and trying to get away from baseball a little bit?
I would say really just getting some good food for sure. Getting some good food, going to the beaches here.
Nice.
Really like really recovering as well. I mean, I'm big on recovery, so I mean, I have my Mark Pro in my room. I have my Normatec. I have my red light. So I think us being at the field every day for long hours a day. I mean, that recovery day is huge. I mean this off day is probably our biggest off day before playoffs, man. Just getting like the mind right and getting the body right, and just being like, all right, like we have 4 of the 5 games to really just clinch this thing, man. So I think on the off day, I think it's very crucial, like not to, get in any trouble and, like not be outside too much. Just kind of uh lay low, take care of your body, get some good food, be around some good people, and just get ready for like the next day.
Awesome. One thing, just kind of from doing some research, from like, kind of scanning the internet,
Yeah.
looking for some stuff to ask you. I mean, come across a tweet that says that you were cousins with J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
What so
Yeah.
it- what
Yeah.
you
Swish.
like, what's your
Swish.
relationship like with JR? I'm sure he's got to be like one of the most interesting guys to
No,
be
for sure, for sure,
be
for sure.
with.
JR is so dope, man. I think a lot of people, like view reports and see him and think about the same way. JR is the most humble guy in the world, man. He is amazing. And I mean, what he's doing right now, I mean, he's going back to school and he's
Doing
golfing,
the
and
golf thing. Yeah, that's
yeah, and
crazy.
no, and he's for real at it too. I mean, last time we talked, like he was like, man, like in your off season, man, like you gotta start golfing as well, man. I mean, so I mean, just to have someone like in that light and who like has won a championship and like he's always shown love to me and my family and stuff like that has just been awesome as well, man. Um, so yeah, I mean like Swish is awesome, bro. Swish is dope. Swish is dope. I
Yeah.
mean like and
That's
and like
great.
and like I'm not big on tattoos. Like I have no tattoos, but he's the one guy where I'm like, man, like I think I might just get one tattoo because I mean, I mean, because if you see him, bro, he looks like I mean, he's just he looks like art, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
looks dope, man. So yeah, I mean, he's a great person, man.
That's
He's great.
awesome. That's
He's
awesome.
great.
So I mean, like one thing, with him, like he's obviously got like this kind of persona that you see when he's
Yeah,
when he's on the court, or kind of his NBA career. Is
yeah.
he kind of that same dude off the court?
I'm telling you, so when people see, I mean, I don't know what people think, but I think the average NBA fan is like, all right, like he's exciting, he's obviously pretty funny,
Yeah.
and he's a damn good 3-pointer shooter. You know what I'm saying? So off the court, man, I mean, I would say he's just like me off the court. I think on the court he's a killer, and he wants to slice your neck and really get that win for his squad. But off the field, man, and off the court, he's relaxed, he's chill to himself, he loves his family and we know we kind of just feed off each other like that. But I think off the field and on the field, it's really two different human beings. If I'm being honest with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
Have
That's
yeah.
super interesting.
or have you ever had the chance to go one on one with him? Did you stand a chance?
No, 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 no. It's funny, you know why? Because if we would go 1-on-1, then I would have to ask him like the question, and I never want to ask him the question. So we're just gonna just leave that. We're just gonna
It's
leave
okay
that.
if he steps in the box against one of your cutters.
Oh,
I'm
one
sure it'd
thousand,
go a
one
little bit
thousand percent,
differently.
1,000%. That would be funny. That would be funny.
Uh, did you play basketball growing up too?
I did, and it was because of him. And then I started playing basketball when I was in Florida. But then when I started playing baseball, man, it was like, you know what, like let's kind of put this basketball thing on the
Yeah.
side because my shot was trash. I'm not gonna lie, and and me defending, like I could defend pretty well, bro, but I definitely didn't have his jump shot, so I just stick to baseball. Yeah.
Do you guys like have you guys like run fives? Do you guys ever get out to play a little bit as a team at all? Like
No, no.
the baseball guys?
Oh no. Oh no.
No.
Oh no. Hey man, my biggest, I mean not like my biggest fear, man, but I mean I hate hearing injuries in season on like doing like
Yeah.
racquetball or we were
Uh-huh.
playing tennis or we were playing fives on fives and then like something happens from that. Like I feel that's the worst type of injury because it's like it's things that like you kind of really shouldn't do, but
Yeah.
the kid in you wants to do anyway. And then when you get burnt, it's like, man, like why'd I do that? Like I'm not even a basketball player. Like I'm not even gonna go play cricket or racquetball or whatever like that. But I think having fun and being kids crucial, but just be stationary, take your shots,
Yeah.
and leave the court.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
You
yeah.
guys, the Vancouver team, you guys would have quite the basketball team with some of the
Oh
dudes you got on
yeah.
the team there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. We have a lot of tall guys and athletes on the squad for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd
Yeah.
be interesting to see how that would turn out.
I think a
Um,
football game would be more interesting, honestly.
yeah, you guys got like a full O line pretty
Oh, for
much there.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, we got Grant, we got Jerron, what we got Stoney. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got
Yeah.
we got a lot
Yeah.
of guys. Horning too. What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were cross having. Oh yeah.
That'd
Oh
be
yeah.
fun. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah.
So we hinted at it a little bit earlier. I mean, you've spent a little bit of time in Toronto, kind of doing a little bit of charity work, showing up to the hospital there with, I believe, Capes for Kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to ask you about that and why that's been something that's been important to you and why that's something that you've kind of kept doing throughout your professional career.
Yeah,
And if you
man.
can kind of maybe tell people kind of what you're doing with that as well.
Yeah, man. The kids are very, very important to me. I feel that, that we obviously live a world and we're in a world right now, but when those kids are in their hospitals, like that's their world and that's kind of like all they know. So my sister was born with a condition called venous malformation, and that just means that her throat was just, tinier than others. And she kind of has a just like a scar like on like her neck. And she's probably had like 25 surgeries and just like getting laser on that like multiple times a year. And she's healthy. She's a beautiful girl. She's 19 years old and she's living her great life. But I think just me being in the hospitals from a early age and kind of seeing what she went through and seeing just the environment of that was a different perspective from me like coming up. So when I was blessed enough to be drafted with Toronto, my family always had a tradition of in Christmas time going to our local hospital and giving away gifts and stuff like that. So when I got drafted, it was like, like I kind of want to keep the same tradition, but kind of, put it in a place where I could lay roots at and hopefully be there when I'm a big leaguer. So, I was very fortunate enough to pair with, the beautiful people at Holland Bloorview in Toronto, for the Children's Hospital there, man. So we've been going for 3 years strong, for K for kids. And I go there every Christmas. I give gifts back and, I give a lot of gear from the Blue Jays and stuff like that. So I think it's, a very, very important time for me to do that and just show my love and support, man. Cause I mean, it's very, very hard to complain about life when you leave that place. Um, I even just went to a children's hospital here in Vancouver, at the BC Children's Hospital, and it's really the only children's hospital they have in the province. And, I went there and met with about 30 kids. And one kid that, man, really got me choked up. His twin brother and his mom and his dad were all in the car together, and unfortunately they had a car crash, and the twin brother and the mom passed away. And it was just him and his dad. And I met him and I still didn't know what was going on during that time. And when I was leaving, his dad told me what happened. And he came to me and was like, "Hey man, like, is the game on Tuesday sold out?" And I was like, "Not for you guys, like, what's up?" And he was like, "Man, like it'll be an honor for me and my little boy to go there." And when he told me out and when I told him I would get him tickets, he started crying, and it really hit me because it was like, man, like you really don't know what people are going through, and like that world is just a different world. So I think just leaving there and just seeing what every kid is dealing with and what conditions and stuff like that. When I leave that place and I go to the field, it's very very hard to complain. So I think just having just a good heart for that and just kind of just understanding where they're coming from. I mean, because even being there, and the kids were so happy to see me and so jolly. And for me, it's like, man, like you guys have so many things going on in your personal life, but you could crack a smile and and be playful with me was just awesome, man. So I think that definitely hits home for me for sure.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like really cool stuff, and it's great to hear that you and some of the guys are out doing stuff like that. So keep it up. We're really
Appreciate it, brother.
really awesome to see.
Thank you.
We have kept you for much longer than I told you we would, so we
It's
will
all
let you
good, man.
run.
I'm here for you guys, man. It's all good.
We really appreciate the time, Irv. Keep it up. Good luck this week. We'll be watching and rooting
Thank
for
you.
you going forward and in your professional career.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, that is Irv Carter. You can catch him pitching for the Vancouver Canadians this week on MILB TV or at Nat Bailey if you are in Vancouver. If you are watching the pod on YouTube, hit the subscribe and like buttons. We're there at the Bird's Eye View Podcast. Make sure to follow or review wherever you get your audio podcasts. You can follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Worden_Zach. Jori is at Jori Negin-Shecter, and the pod is at BEB_pod. Thanks so much for listening.